Guys, welcome back. So we've got a video for you today at Matt's request. It is something he's noticed a little bit from watching a lot of the coverage, I guess recently, over the last little while, and it's some tendencies of the best players in the world off the tee.
Yeah, so I guess the last couple of years, the pro tracer has become really, really common.
Yep.
And personally, I love it. I think it's great.
It's good, isn't it?
If they could do it on every shot, I would love it.
I know, it'll give us some track band numbers and obviously a little ball flight.
It makes watching it so much better. But
Definitely.
So what I've noticed, and I don't think it's a secret to anyone, a lot of tour players are hitting fades off the tee with their driver.
Yep.
Not necessarily with the shorter irons. I think a lot of them, work it both ways. But the driver, the predominant shot seems to be a fade.
Yep.
So take DJ, for example. The guy is still hammering the ball, whatever he hits at 320 average or something, and he's hitting fades. So there's obviously a benefit in terms of accuracy, no doubt, or why would they do it, right? There's obviously a benefit in terms of it holding up under pressure. So my question was, these guys are still getting great distance, so what is going on in their club fitting and the technology? What is allowing them to still hit relatively low spin, great launch conditions, but still hit a fade?
Yeah, I mean, I think the nature of modern equipment is that it lends itself to lower spin, right? So higher launch and lower spin, and generally speaking, that's when people are hitting fades, kind of like our video the other week there, when we were going to, well, the difference between a draw and a fade is generally the fade spins a little bit more.
Yeah.
But with the modern ball and obviously being able to dial in the lofts and shafts and obviously selecting the right head, it doesn't have to.
Right.
So now you can see, like, when DJ hits that fade, it's a bullet fade, isn't it?
Bullet fade.
It's a low spin fade.
And even sometimes when he seemingly, the pro tracer looks really high, but there's not a lot of spin on it. So he's getting just crazy carry.
Yeah, without a doubt. And that's all down to, okay, how does the delivery match the club in hand? So, if he's hitting, a little bit of a fade, so for DJ swing, he still swings from the inside. Yeah. Aiming a little bit more down the left-hand side, and that's the kind of tour player's fade. They're not all of a sudden going from swinging in to out to in to do that.
Yeah, they're not making drastic swing changes. No. They may just be opening their stance up a bit.
Talking about, that's exactly what it is, alignment. And I remember, at Turnberry, I was lucky enough to watch a lot of Colin Montgomery's. He would do sort of clinics on the range. He would talk about all the time, he actually wouldn't change his swing at all. He would change his alignment, which would basically dictate what the face would have to do in order to get the shot shape.
So he says, I want to hit it there, I'm going to aim there, and the ball comes back.
Aim a little bit left, hang on to the face, aim a little bit right, have to release a little bit more. But it wasn't a different swing, it was just a different alignment that basically dictated what the swing would do from there.
Instinctive from there.
Without a doubt. So I think the nature of the modern day player, they're still swinging from the inside, it's just they're getting less face rotation.
Gotcha.
Okay, so they're set, the drivers are set up to rotate less, whether that's weight in the toe, forward CGs, stiffer shafts, all these sorts of things.
And we should mention that I guess a lot of the reason they're hitting those fades is they're trying to eliminate one side of the golf course.
Very true.
And they're trying to, a bad hook, all things being equal, they're usually a way worse shot. Like when Tiger was, struggling when he came back a couple of years ago. I mean, obviously injury notwithstanding, his worst shots were huge hooks. Yeah. And those guys aren't going to usually hit it out of bounds with over-fading the ball. So it's really kind of helping these long hitters, I guess, hit more fairways, keep the ball in play. Definitely,
because, what's the worst damage that can be done on a fade that floats a little bit? Yeah. It goes shorter.
And that's the other thing, the shorter the shot, it's dispersion, what do you call that? It's like your dispersion trajectory, I guess. The further it goes, the more offline it could go.
Oh, without a doubt, your kind of sort of range for miss error is a lot worse the further you hit it.
Exactly.
There's no doubt about that. Okay, well, let's hit a few and let's see if we can build a kind of ball flight for you, Matt. I mean, we know you're around that speed with those guys, so let's see if we can give you that kind of tour flighted fade.
So what I was going to say is the reason we're hitting some shots is to get those numbers up there for everyone, so they can see the actual conditions, and then you can chat about why you've chosen this head and shaft. But how do we produce those conditions to hit that knuckleball fade that really gets some good yardage?
Without a doubt. Okay, let's have a little try. So Matt, we've got the Rogue Sub-Zero T1100 shaft. Okay, low launch, low spin combo.
So we're going to aim a little down the right side. Contact felt pretty good.
I really like the flight of that one. I mean, that's really nice. You can just start that down the right-hand side, Matt, and just drift that back in.
A little toey, but...
Yeah, we lost a little ball speed from where we know you can be, but...
Yeah.
11.8 launch and 2600, I really like that. Should be peaking around 120 feet for you.
Yep.
115 is great.
It's a pretty good hit. I think I just delivered a little open.
It's interesting though. I mean, for as much shape as that had, Matt, it's really quite low spin.
Yeah. Yeah, still getting plenty of carry with that, aren't we?
Tons and tons. Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. Okay, let's hit a couple more. And you're not making any adjustments to your swing. You're aiming down the right hand side.
No, I'm just aiming down the right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's obviously a little harder when you don't have a real target in mind, but
sure.
That's, I guess, what those guys are just trying to pick their end point.
For sure.
Aim down for them the left side and fade it back. It's a better hit. It's probably just a little bit of a straight shot.
It's a real low spinner. I mean,
Yeah.
wait to see how low this is. It's probably sub 1500.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1347.
But that's an example where if I had aimed down the right, if that's the right side of the fairway,
Yep,
I didn't miss it by much. It just didn't fade back.
without a doubt.
And you're eliminating that other side of the golf course. So would you, if someone came in and they wanted to hit, if they told you they only hit fades off the tee,
Yep.
is that fitting a completely different process than someone who says, I only hit draws off the tee?
Oh yeah, for sure.
100%, right?
For sure, yeah. I mean, you're very then conscious about the weighting of the club, the
Yep.
distribution of the weight, the head tendencies. Obviously, some of the heads have adjustable weights, so if they're looking to cut one side of the fairway out, and I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
Like as an amateur golfer, a handicap golfer, if you can eliminate one side, play into the whole fairway, just shaping it one way, that's a real good idea.
You can take way many more strokes off your game that way.
No question.
Yeah.
No question.
And so generally speaking, someone comes in wanting to hit fades, you're going to fit them to something a little lower spin.
Yep.
If someone hits mostly draws, you'll probably give them something with a little more, all things being equal.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. For the guy who's hitting the fades, normally he's holding a little bit more loft in the golf club.
Yep.
So that spins it a little bit more, having higher dynamic loft. The guy who draws it generally takes loft off it because he rotates the head a little more.
Gotcha.
That's a good flight, Matt.
Yeah, it's probably like a 2-yard fade on that.
It was pretty darn good, that carry.
And that's a lot of the time, like if you watch, that was probably a little on the toe, I guess, dropping the spin. But if you, like Justin Thomas, like he'll set up for those fades. But sometimes they kind of just look like that. He just kind of hits like a bullet.
The amount of times I see that tracer and there's really not much shape to it, it's pretty straight.
But you can see as I said, this is why I wanted to do this test, because that shot to me felt like I was hitting a fade. Yeah. I felt like there was no way I would hit that right. And it just ended up being like one of the longer drives that I've ever hit.
Well, really the idea for us here is just make it anti-right.
Yeah.
So we want to eliminate the right side of the course, have it just being straight to somewhere on the left side of the fairway. Yeah. So that's exactly how you want to build it.
If you can eliminate that side, and it doesn't look like we're losing many yards at all.
I mean, most of the guys, honestly, that I've ever worked with, sort of that are playing at that level, Matt, one of the things they always say is, I just don't want to hook it.
Yes.
I really just don't. Like for right-handed players, I just don't want to hit it left.
Yeah. And then there's, if someone comes in and they really need you to help them with that from scratch, you could actually be introducing some shaft options.
Oh, yeah.
Face angle adjustments, head bias, I guess, that are a little more fade bias.
Yep.
You could actually help someone get into that shot.
Definitely.
Plus take spin off it and give them that yardage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so we're just kind of analysing the sort of data we got there. Pretty good.
Yeah, hit some good ones.
Really good. I mean, we definitely saw you hit it not quite as far as you do when you hit a draw. Yeah. But you also saw the ball flight really stabilise as well.
100%, yeah.
So your launch angle is around 2100 spin, pretty good. Ball speed is 168. Now, I kind of know you more to be 170, 172 when you're hitting your normal draw.
Yeah, so I guess the compression factor was lowered a little bit because the face is being delivered a little more open. So we lost a couple mile an hour.
Dynamic loft's a fraction on the high side. And probably like to see that around 17 with you to produce a little bit more ball speed. But certainly, kind of all in all, from a ball flight perspective, you were starting it online, just drifting it back to the left side. So, a nice, I hate to call it a fairway finder at 312 yards, but that's what it is for you.
It was more I mean, the worst one was just probably a little bit of a pull that didn't quite fade.
Right.
And then the other ones just kind of started a little right and faded back.
Just tailed towards the end.
And not by much. So what I'd like to see is what were the conditions that allowed us, obviously the club is low spin, we know that.
Sure.
But if people want to say, how do I hit a low spin fade? What's the club data that allows you to do that? Angle of attack and the dynamic loft and things like that.
Without a doubt. I mean, you're hitting up on it.
Yeah.
We kind of, that's really the starting place to spin it low.
Yep.
After we see that, we have a nice upward angle attack, we can then apply the right amount of loft to it.
Gotcha.
Okay, so we've given you a 9-degree loft, slightly open, so that 9 degrees actually playing 8. Okay, so we're giving you a pretty stout shaft in the Hazards T1100.
And that's going to help eliminate the hook and the pull.
Yeah,
shot.
I mean, we're just exactly trying to just stabilize it a little bit, try and kind of keep the face from rotating too much for you, just kind of hold the face at the target.
Yep.
That's pretty much where we had the club face there. So face angle was fractionally closed to the target line.
To the target line.
Yeah, so it was pretty darn good.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to hit low spin fades, one thing to do is make sure you're hitting up on it at least a bit, or be level, right? We don't want to be hitting down on it significantly.
No.
You're going to spin it up and you're going to lose yards.
You're going to hit that little chop slice from that point. You don't want to be hitting down on it, because what happens is when we strike down is the dynamic loft increases typically.
Gotcha.
Not ideal.
So let's look for a low spin head, low spin shaft, something nice and stable that will eliminate those hook shots, or not eliminate, but mitigate them. And then look for a little bit of a positive angle of attack, and that's how those guys are hitting that kind of shot on tour.
No question, without a doubt. And obviously contact point is huge as well.
Yes.
So we were able to see that we were striking it a little bit toe side.
Yeah, which actually prevented it from fading probably back as much as I'd like.
Definitely.
So if they were a little more centered, probably we would have seen a little bit tighter pattern. But
without a doubt.
But all in all, miss-wise, I mean, I brought my dispersion in just by trying to hit that shot versus trying to hit the draw.
Definitely. Okay, guys. So there's your your parameters of how you're going to hit that tour fade, but without really ballooning the spin up in the air.
And not sacrificing too much distance.
Without a doubt. Thanks for watching.